Shalom, Israel. It's that time again. The ISUPK, under Commanding General Yahana, presents the Lord's 57th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 57th Annual Passover, April 4th, 2026, in Houston, Texas. All Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans are commanded to observe the Lord's Passover. This will be the biggest Passover to date. You do not want to miss this. Fresh lamb, fresh wine, and bitter herbs as commanded by the Most High. Only $200 per person, ages 17 and up. The biggest event of the year. There is only one Passover, and it's under Commanding General Yahana. See you there, Israel. Shalom.
Nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and warlike apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us. Watch where you stepping.
Hey, mic check, mic check, mic. Lock you in 1 second. Yeah, actually, you mind? Lock you. And while we waiting, make sure y'all like, share, subscribe to every social media platform that you viewing on. I mean, we're gonna get started shortly. Lock you. Shalom, Lord, praise. We're about to get started here in a second. For anybody watching online, make sure you like, share, subscribe on whatever social media platform that you're watching on. Make sure you share it with your loved ones. Make sure you share it with your enemies. You know what I mean? Whether they agree or disagree, you know what I mean? Share it with everybody. And if you disagree, you know what I mean, get in the comments, get in the chat, and state your claim. I mean, with that, a Shalom, Israel. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yahana. This is the Friday night Lashawan Qadash class, where we break down the Hebrew from a linguistics perspective. If you got any questions, feel free to raise your hand or put it in the chat if you're watching online, and we'll get all your questions answered. We'll answer all your questions and solve all your problems. You know what I mean? The reason why, we've been teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth according to the Bible since 1969. And it's so important that, it's so important that brothers and sisters, come into the ISUPK, because the Christian church, where have we been going for the past, however many couple hundred years? We've been going to the Christian church. We've been going to the Catholic church. We done gave being a Muslim a try. We didn't tried being, 5%ers and the different denominations of Christianity, the ones that go door to door. What are they called? The Jehovah's Witness. Yeah. Jehovah's Witness, brothers and sisters have tried that. We didn't try being Muslim. We tried being spiritual. That's the wave now with brothers and sisters. Now you just spiritual. And the reason why brothers and sisters lean toward just being spiritual, which basically just means that you like a leaf in the wind. Like, you just believe whatever is convenient and whatever is convenient at the time. Because the Christian church has failed. Because at first, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have been flooding the Christian churches for, our biblical guidance. And your Christian churches have failed us, where not only do they not teach you the Bible, but they take your money. And they, it's all sorts of sexual deviancy and misconduct that's going on in the Christian church. I ain't got to tell you this. The Christian church reputation speaks for itself. You had your hand up, so like you was about to say something?
I kind of did. Within what you were talking about, the thing that we see within the Christian church, everything outside the truth, we try to consider that. Because we go through the same things, our mistakes. So when we as we are stiff necked people, so we see the mistakes, we see the flaws within the Christian church, we see the things that happen outside the ISUPK, and we see it for as it is, and we know that it's wrong, but we try to see if they're gonna make up for it. We try to see if they're gonna bring out a truth within the scripture, and see if they're gonna counterpart what they didn't already showed us. We know that it's wrong because they showed it was wrong, and it's hard for us to come into something that is all the way the truth. It's coming into the truth, ISUPK, and seeing brothers break down scriptures, and they hitting heavy points, and there's no flaws within them. So it's hard to see that because we're considering ourselves. We know that we have been wrong. We know that we have did wrong, but we overcame it. So when we see the preacher and he do that, it's like, oh man, they just like me. They doing the same thing I did. The Lord has showed me to get to hear. You know what I'm saying? So it's all within us considering ourselves, and not it's all for us considering ourselves and not the Lord's will. Here in our UPK, brothers are doing the Lord's will. So within these Christian church, they're not doing the Lord's will. They're doing their will.
Right.
So like it, sir.
No, what you said was absolutely heavy. And that brings me to the point, like your Christian churches, they're ill-equipped to teach you the truth according to the Bible, because like what you just said, when it comes down to it, they're trying to do their will, which is why, you know what I mean, when they get caught up with these scandals that's found in the Christian church, or you know what I mean, you find flaws and holes in their doctrine, they won't admit or like adjust, you know what I mean, or just say they like the Christian church. I don't know if y'all I mean, I don't know if y'all know, but the Christian pastors, they will never say, I don't know this. They won't say, I don't know what this, like if you ask a brother in the school or a question on a particular topic or a scripture, a breakdown on a particular scripture, if that brother at that moment in time doesn't have the answer, he'll just say, I'm not 100% sure on this. I'll get counsel on it. I'll call the generals. I'll call the captain. I'll call my camp leader. I'll get the answer, and then I'll once I do that, then I'll give you the answer. But the Christian church, they don't do that because they have an agenda already in their mind. You know what I mean? And that just, that segues right into the class and the reason why we do this, because like the reason why your Christian churches is ill-equipped, a big reason rather, that your Christian churches are ill-equipped to teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth according to the Bible is the language. Like you've never heard about the Christian church going into the Hebrew, which is the original language of the people of the Bible, right? You've never heard them go into the language and then, you know what I mean, which leads to them, certain holes in their doctrine. Like when they see, because they don't go into the language, they don't understand like certain words have context. That's why when you read in, I believe, the book of Galatians, the 6th chapter, where it says, neither Greek nor Jew, neither bond nor free, but all are one in Christ Jesus. When you hear things like that, or John 3:16, where it says, for God so loved the world, they don't understand that those words, Greek nor Jew, or world, or nations, or God, or Lord, all of those words have context. And another thing about the language as well, it's spoken how we speak, like how you and I speak. Like we use slang, like we talk, like we don't talk. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we speak in a very poetic way. Like if I say, hey, Aitiza, that's my dog. Well, you know what that means, right? But if I say, hey, he a dog, I'm saying the same words, but you understand the context based on the context, you know what I'm saying. And those two things that I just said are complete opposite. If I say, hey, that's my dog, but him over there, he a dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how the Bible is written. And that's where you get, like in Genesis, I believe Genesis, the 2nd chapter, where it talks about the serpent in the garden. Same thing. Like if I say if I say a he a serpent, he a snake, am I talking about a slithering reptile in the grass? Is that what I'm talking about? What am I talking about? You go ahead, sis. It's like not to pick on you.
He's a liar.
Yes, absolutely. And you could grab this yeah, the water. But that's how the Bible is written. So with that given, you know what I mean, when you see there was the serpent in the garden. As a matter of fact, let's go to it real quick. Go to Genesis 2, Itazah. You could just grab that real quick. Mic check, mic check. Mic. What was that about? Mic check, mic check. Mic. But yeah, now that you understand, like if you look at it from that perspective, if you look at it from a black perspective, then you can understand what's actually in the Bible. Where now, when it talks about a serpent in the garden and eating from the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, when it talks about what's some other common metaphors, things like that, then you can really understand what the Bible is saying, because the Bible is a black book. Like, this is a language class. If you look, even if you look at like blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, Caribbeans, Haitians, everybody that speaks a different language, the way we speak the language that was imposed on us, we speak it different than the oppressor. For example, like in English, your oppressor has a way of speaking English, and then we have a certain way of speaking it. Like they call it what do they call it now?
Slang.
Yeah, they used to call it slang, ebonics back in the day. I believe now they call it African American Vernacular English, AAV. But we have a way of speaking our oppressor's language. If you look in like the Hispanic community, like the way they speak Spanish isn't the way that you learn in like high school. Like if you take like Spanish 101 or something like that, or if you hear a Spaniard, like somebody from Spain, the way that they speak Spanish is completely different than how a so-called Hispanic would speak Spanish. I guess it's different, and it's for the same reason. Like we just speak in a certain way. You got that, right, Desire? Genesis 2 and start at verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished.
Go to C3. Yeah.
The book of
verse
Genesis,
3 chapter 3 and verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field.
Now we're talking about the serpent, right? And this is where Christians, and this is how you know that this Bible, this book is this book right here, this is a book for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, written by Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, about Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Like even the word Holy Bible in itself, the word holy, if you could select, okay, no sweat. But we gonna go into the Designer Bible Dictionary in a second. But if you go into the Designer Bible Dictionary and look up the word holy, the definition of holy. Well, I'll ask you, sis, just for an example, what does the word holy mean? And it's all right if you don't know. I just wanna get a general consensus of like what you think it means. And the reason why I'm asking is because the world has taught us the world has put blinders on us. So like the general, like when we think of holy, we think of something that may be way left field. So I ask you, what is the world taught you that holy is?
Well, That's what I was about to say. The reason I say I do not know is because for many years, I still get different meanings and different interpretations of what holy is. So, you know, when I hear, I should be holy because the Lord is holy, or even when I read, Most High God is holy, holy, holy. I always take it back to Him in prayer and my meditation. I say, well, what is holy? What are you telling me?
Yeah.
I need to understand what it is.
Okay. Well, let's get grab the Zondervan Bible Dictionary and look up the word holy, if you could, Baba Kashan. And this is the thing that the Christian church doesn't do. Like, words have context. And if you don't understand certain words, then you'll completely miss the point of the scripture or what's being said. Like, again, like, it's written on the front cover of every Bible. It says Holy Bible. And that's important in itself. We're about to find out just how important it is. You got that? But it's extremely important. Like, it's so important for us to understand what these words mean. Just like the example that I gave earlier about dog, the word dog. Like, uh if I say that's my dog, but he a dog, neither one of those things mean a four-legged canine. Like, then neither one of those things, you can't apply that context to what I just said in either one of those things. But your oppressor, because they don't have the spirit that the Most High gave to us, they'll be confused. They'll be like, how can you say the same word and it mean two different things? Or they'll hear us say, oh, that's my dog, or he a dog. Like, oh, that's a dog. That's why we like what we about to go into in Genesis, the 3rd chapter. That's why when they teach the Bible, when they say there was a serpent in the garden and Eve ate the fruit of the tree, they think a talking snake in the woods, came up to Eve and told her to eat an apple. That's why you see, like, matter of fact, let me see if I could pull up the. Let me see if I can pull up this. You said you got that? Let me see. You take this picture right here, right? Oh my God, I don't know if I can put this on the screen. I don't know if you notice or not either, sis, but your oppressor is a sexual deviant. What you got?
I was just gonna say about the oppressing everything that he has taught you is of a slave mentality. We listen to everything that somebody has. We listen to people that have destroyed us as a nation. People have to consider those things. Everything that you learn, the thought that you have, it's come from somebody that have put your ancestors in cage. You have to consider your people, man. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32:7 say, consider the generation before you. So before you can even think, you have to consider the people and the things that have been done to them. So you think somebody that put your ancestors in cages and chains and destroyed them, killed our children from birth, we think we see something that ICE is doing to the Hispanic. Imagine we are the same people, but imagine the things that have been done to you, your people before then. So you're gonna consider everything you done learned within their system of life, or you gonna listen to some brothers? It's just a lot to so like I said, my bad.
What you saying is on point. Like, you have to, like, first of all, long story short, to summarize what you just said, your oppressor is the devil. He's the number one deceiver in the earth. So everything that he taught you about anything, just assume it's a lie. That's the safest bet. Just assume it's a lie. Like this image that you see on the screen, right? This is the depiction of Adam and Eve, right? And you see what she got in her hand? Yeah, it's an apple. Now find me. We're gonna read it in Genesis the 3rd chapter. You're not gonna see there's no apple there. But that's the capacity that white people can understand. What's up?
That's like a brother told me in the school. You learn Christianity before you learn the Bible. The Bible doesn't say anything about an apple. An apple. You can read it in and out day and night. But the Christianity, the churches that I know that I grew up in, they told me that it was an apple. They told me that it was a snake. But within the Bible, it don't say anything about a snake nor an apple.
Yep.
But that's what I taught and that's what I learned. So that makes you automatically think that the Bible is a lie, an illusion, some fairy tale story, because they telling you stories, stuff that don't add up. A snake that could talk, an apple that they, you know what I'm saying? It just don't perceive, it don't seem believable growing up in the doctrine that they teach. It just don't seem believable. So all in all, going to the church in and out every Sunday, it's always questionable. You sitting there, you learning things, but it's questionable. So that's why the ISUPK is just different, because the question that you have and the thoughts you have, you can ask him. You can come to a brother, gonna give you a breakdown. He's gonna bring these things to life. I haven't seen it. Nobody else is doing it under Commander Journey Hunter. We are giving you the answers. We are giving you the things. It's either, you know what I'm saying? We giving you the answers. It's just simple. We giving you the answers. You know, so like it.
Now go ahead and read the definition of holy. And this is what holy actually means. This is the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. This is where you go. Like when you read certain words in the Bible, this is where you go to find out what these words actually mean. The Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Go ahead and read that.
The word holiness, holy, translate words derived from a Hebrew root meaning separateness or withdraw.
Meaning what?
Root meaning separateness, withdraw.
So that's what holy means. It means separate. So when it says Holy Bible, holy, we just read, means separate. Bible is a word that derives from the root word biblios, which means like records. Like if you like in the back of in the back of a book, it'll have a bibliography, which is a record of the sources that the information in this book came from. Like biblios means records. So Holy Bible means separate records. So if it means separate records, then you got to ask yourself, separate, who's separate and separate from who? And this Bible is the separate records of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and they're separated from your oppressor. Like these records, anything like when it says in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that's separate. That's not talking about everybody. Otherwise, Holy Bible is a lie. If John 3:16 is talking about everybody, then that means the Bible isn't holy. Because that's the opposite of separate. Inclusion is the opposite of separation. But in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, it says holy talks about separation or withdrawal. So that's why when your oppressor reads the Bible, they get images like this. They got Eve holding a apple when there's no mention of apple in Genesis, the 3rd chapter. And then you got a snake talking to Adam and Eve. If you separate, like if you're a Black, Hispanic, and Native American, you know a snake when you see one. Like if I say, like, read what you got in Genesis 3.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3, in verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than a beast of the field.
Than any beast of the field. Go ahead.
Than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, hath God said, ye shall not eat of the tree of good. Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden.
Mm-hmm. So now, when you see in Genesis 3:1, it says serpent, right? All of a sudden, the Christian church, like the brother said, you get taught the indoctrination of Christianity before you ever read the Bible. When you read the Bible and see serpent, Christianity teaches you to imagine a snake, like an animal. But if we just talking in a general conversation, I say, hey, that's a snake, or watch out for that snake over there. You're not going to be like, that's not what you're going to do. You're going to be like, oh, who a snake? Oh, him? Oh yeah, he a snake. You gonna understand exactly what I'm talking about because what's understood don't got to be explained. You know what I mean? We understand each other, but because of the indoctrination of Christianity, we read these things and now we imagine an animal in our mind. Well, what you was about to say something?
Now it's just so heavy what you brought out. What explain and gotta what's understood and gotta be explained because the snake meaning that you brought out, nobody never sat me down and said, well, this is the snake, a man to do this and that. We just automatically understand it. I never had to, my mama, father never had to set me down and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just picking up on what you putting out.
No, that's an absolute fact, and that's important. And the reason why we even have to have like scripture breakdown or like a class we got to teach camp that Christ is like the Bible wasn't written for us to be able to explain that Christ was a black man. The Bible wasn't written for us to explain that God don't love everybody. The reason why we have to break these things down is because of the indoctrination of Christianity and that we're going against you know what I mean, principalities and the evil of the earth and the against these doctrines, against what I mean, these spiritual powers in high places. We going against all these things. So the world, I'll do this again. I did this I think a couple weeks ago. But if you look up Jesus Christ, right? You see what pops up? What's up? Okay, no sweat. But you look up Jesus Christ, and this is what pops up. But if you go to Revelation, the 13th chapter, or what is it, Revelations 1 to 13, you go to Revelation, the first chapter, it describes Christ, and it describes him with skin, with as bronze that burned in a furnace. But all I did was go to Google. I just went to Google and looked up Jesus Christ, and this is what pops up. You know what I mean? These images is what if you go to the Christian church, I guarantee they're going to have these images. They're not going to have the Revelation 1 to 13 description of Jesus Christ in the church. They're going to have this because this is what we're fighting against. This is why we even have to break down the Bible in the first place. But the Bible was a book of record that was separated for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Go ahead. You got go ahead to finish Genesis 3.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. Verse 3. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Yeah, it's so much in this. I don't want to go too deep into it, because I kind of want to get into the language because this is the Lashawan Qadash class. But it's so much just in Genesis, the 3rd chapter, that goes over your oppressor's head. Like the serpent in the garden, of course, we just talked about that's a man. You know what I mean? He was more subtle than any beast of the field. Like the beasts of the field are these other nations. The Most High separated us and called us by his name. These other nations are beasts of the field that, devour us. You know what I mean? They take advantage of us. And now you got, Eve, she's talking to this serpent, this snake. The Christian church, they'll have you believing that there's a snake that she's talking to with an apple, I guess, in his mouth or whatever. Like, here, eat this fruit. I don't know what the hell. Like, it just don't. Once you start to really break it down or understand it from a black perspective, it just don't make sense. But the Christian church will have you believing that Eve is sitting there talking to a snake, and this conversation ain't about fruit. It's not about apples and oranges. This conversation ain't being had with a animal and a woman that that's butt naked in the woods. That's another, again, your oppressor is a deviant. But this is a man, or this is a woman who's being deceived by a man that is untrustworthy and who is trying to feed her. Like, what do we call, like, when we get new information or we read in a book, they call it food for thought. Like, that's just how we talk. So this is what's happening right here. Like, this is a man that's untrustworthy that's feeding Eve new information. He's feeding her something. She's telling, or this serpent is telling Eve what these Kemet people or these Christians or these spiritual people, you know what I mean, tell our women today. It's the same thing. When they come up to our women, they be like, "Oh, you know, you a god, yes, queen, yeah, you the what do they say? What do they say about our to our women? You know what I mean? They say, "Oh, you a god, you a queen, you the
You independent. That's the main thing they
Yeah.
feed them. You don't need a man. You can withstand everything by yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what this serpent was doing. She was feeding, and that's why this serpent, this untrustworthy man, went to the woman. This serpent went to Eve because Adam received the instruction from the Most High. He gave. Go ahead. Or actually, we just read it in Genesis. Read verse 3 again.
Sir. The book of Genesis, chapter 3, and verse 3. But of the fruit of the tree which is the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
And Eve was instructed. Eve received instruction from Adam. She received the instruction. That's why when the serpent asked her what the Most High said, like, did the Most High say not to partake in this? Eve was able to run it down. He said, the Most High said, do this, this, that, and the third, and don't do this, that, and the third. Because she was instructed. And then go ahead and read on.
Verse 4. And the serpent said unto woman, Ye shall not surely die.
So the Most High gave her instruction through Adam. Adam gave her the instruction and told her, don't do this or you're going to surely die. And the serpent said, read that again.
And the serpent said unto woman, Ye shall not surely die.
So the serpent told the woman the opposite of what the Most High said, which is exactly like I said. That's what, you know what I mean? That's what we're taught in the earth. Like, you look at the Christian church, perfect example, where they'll say, like, the scriptures say in, I believe we read it yesterday, Matthew, the 5th chapter, that think not that I've come to destroy the law. Yeah, I've come not to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. You know what I mean? That's what Christ said out of his own mouth. But the Christian church, they'll be like, the law is done away with. You don't have to keep the law. That's what they teach you. The Christian church will teach you the opposite of what the Most High said. Most High said that pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster is unclean. You go to Leviticus, I believe, the 7th chapter. But you read in the law, it talks about all the clean and unclean animals that we can eat. You know what I mean? It tells us what's clean to eat and what's unclean to us, that we shouldn't eat it or touch it. But the Christian church, they market, or the world as well, they market pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster as delicacies, as must-haves. You know what I mean? Everything is better with bacon on it. The Most High said pork is unclean, but they market everything with bacon on it is better. You know what I mean? You go to, they market the crab boils. You know what I mean? They market crab legs and catfish and lobster tail and all of that as delicacies, when the Most High said that that's unclean. You know what I mean? The Most High, or your oppressor teaches you the complete opposite of what the Most High said. And that's what you read it right here, where Eve is regurgitating the information that she received from her husband, as she should, and the serpent is telling her the complete opposite. Go ahead.
Verse 5. For God doeth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
And that's what you see today. Like, we was never supposed to know good and evil. We was just supposed to know how good it was to follow the Lord's commandments. What's up?
That's kind of like how I was talking to a brother. He was telling me like it's based of what you said. It's kind of like a child not knowing the good from sex and not having sex. Once you tell a child something about sex, they be like, oh, they feel guilty. They don't know the good and the evil. Only thing they know what their parents told them. They don't know nothing about sex. So once you tell them and explain that to them, they're like, oh, what is sex? They feel, you know what I'm saying? They considering the good and the evil when all they know was the good, and it was never that. It was only what their parents told them. It was never what somebody else from evil told them about. So, Salaga.
Let me get Baruch 4:1, I believe. Baruch 4:1. I believe that. Let me know what that say. And I'll give you a simpler example. I'll give you a simpler example. Like, yeah, I just had an example. But just read that real quick. It'll come back to me.
Kind of one concert. The book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 1.
That's what it was.
This is the book of the commandments of God.
Now, before we go ahead, finish that, and then I'm gonna ask you a question, if that's all right.
Kind of one concert. The book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God and the law.
This right here is the book of the commandments of God and the law. Go ahead.
That endured forever.
That endured forever. Now, your Christian church want to convince you that this law is done away with. They do away with all of this, and I don't know if you now in the Christian church they just give you a little bitty book about this big, and it's just Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They don't give you the whole Bible no more. They don't teach it, but they do away with all of this. Lamentations, Ezekiel, Hosea, Joel, and they start with But they start with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Go ahead.
I just heavy what you're saying about they only teach the Old Testament, the New is this and that. It's all about understanding. So you have to understand the thing that brothers are bringing out. The old matter. What do you think Christ get his doctrine from?
Right. He's teaching from this part of the book. He's teaching from this part of the book that the Christian church tried to dismiss. Like, this much of the book. They dismiss this much of the book, and then they just teach you Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John out of context, and they try to make it seem as if Christ and the apostles and the prophets after him that he raised up was teaching something different. But he was teaching from the Old Testament. Read that again.
The book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God and the law that endured forever.
That's what Christ was teaching from. Go ahead.
All they that kept it shall come to life.
All they that do what?
All they that kept it shall come to life. But such as leave it shall die.
Now let me ask you a question, sis. Now we know how Genesis or this Adam and Eve story ends, right? So the Most High gave Adam and Eve instructions not to partake in the fruit of the tree in the midst of the garden, right? He told them not to do that, lest ye die. And then they did it, right? They partook, even though they received instruction not to. Now, the Most High said, you'll die. Now, did they die? Adam and Eve, when they partook?
It was not a physical death.
Give her a hand. That's the point. It wasn't a physical death. They didn't die. They didn't just fall out, eat the apple off the tree and bite it and then fall out. You know what I mean? like Snow White or something like that. That's not how that happened. Like you just said, it wasn't. It was a spiritual death. Uh, and that's how we die. Like you might not necessarily, like the scriptures also say, because punishment for an evil work isn't executed expediently. It's set in our heart to do evil. Hey, Ike, you mind checking on the doors? So when we do drugs, we do drugs and we sell drugs to one another. Our sisters are promiscuous. Our fathers are, drug addicts and drug dealers and alcoholics and whoremongers and things like that. Hey, yo, stuff. Just you don't go through those things. You don't sleep with a whore and just die. You don't sell drugs. You don't die from your first hit of whatever drug of your choice. You don't just do crack and then die. You know what I mean? But what you do see is the spiritual death, like you said, where now I believe the statistic is about 80% of brothers and sisters is growing up in fatherless homes. You see, I believe Commander General Yohana, he brought up the statistic where 600,000 there was 600,000 abortions in the first 6 months of 2025, and 70% of those abortions was done by Black, Hispanic, and Native American sisters, which means, half a million. You add it up to a year, we're destroying 1 million babies a year. You know what I mean? That's death. You know what I mean? It's not immediate, but we mess around. We mess around with following, partaking with the doctrines of these other nations, and we experience death. We experience captivity. We get Deuteronomy 28 real quick. But that's what it's talking about in Baruch 4:1, where this is the book of the laws, the laws of the Lord. We keep it. Those who keep it will live, and those who don't keep it will die. That's what this is talking about. Go ahead and read. You start at verse 15, or read verse 1 and then drop down to 15.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Right. So this is what the Most High was telling Adam and Eve in the garden. This is what we just read in Baruch, the 4th chapter. This is the promise that the Most High told us. If we follow his commandments, if we hearken diligently, which just means listen closely to the voice of the Lord thy God, go ahead.
To observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on a high above all nations of the earth.
See, and that's why what the Christian church teaches is so diabolical and so wicked, because your success and your failure is directly linked to your obedience to the Most High. But the Christian church, they teach you that the law is done away with. So there's no way for us to have success on earth. That's why you see ICE, they can just I don't know if you see what's going on in Minneapolis, but they're having their way with Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Dragging pregnant women through the snow. They just hemmed up a 17-year-old Hispanic brother. I think he was at his job. I think he might have been working at Walmart, but he had on a high visibility vest. And ICE pulled up. They pulling up in like a Tahoe. Like they not pulling up in like police, like official government vehicles with sirens, and they're not pulling up in like marked car. They're pulling up in like a Chevy Tahoe. They're pulling up in a GMC truck. They pulling up in budget rental van. What happened in Chicago? Like when they raided that apartment and pulled all those Black and Hispanic brothers and sisters out their homes, all in the middle of the night. They pulled them out their homes and put them, zip tied their children, naked. Like the children didn't even have clothes on. They zip tied them and threw them in the back of budget rental vans. Now I don't know if you know, but any joker with $40 in a driver's license can go to budget right now and just get a rental van and pull up on somebody and put them in the back with zip ties. Like I can go to Home Depot or Walmart and get zip ties. I can go to budget with $40 and get a rental van and, you know what I mean, throw somebody in the back of it. But that's what ICE is doing under the, you know what I mean, under the Trump administration. That's what they're doing. And the reason why your oppressor can have such a field day with Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans is this right here. Is because we don't keep the laws of the Most High God. Read that again, Bob Gashah.
Kano and Khan, sir. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1. So like a verse, in verse 1, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So what that's saying is if we just follow the instructions of the Most High God, if we keep these commandments that the Christian church is saying is done away with, then we will be set on high above all nations on the earth. Now drop down to 15.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So this is the on the flip side. So if we listen to the Most High God, if we listen to the Most High God, then we'll be set on high above all nations that are on the face of the earth. But read that again.
But verse 15, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Now, this is what happened after Adam and Eve, they partook in the culture of these other nations. They partook in Christmas. They partook in being a Muslim. They partook in eating abominable, you know what I mean, things, animals that the Most High said is unclean. They partook in, you know what I mean, all these different things that's destructive to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This is what happened after Adam and Eve did that. That's what that's talking about. And just to bring it full circle, that's why understanding the language is so important, because all of this, everything that we just broke down just now, it went straight over your oppressor's head. Like the way that we talk, like we could say, hey, the block is hot. Or if I say it's hot outside, that could mean several different things. Like if I say it's hot outside, what does that mean to you, sis? Salakia. And when I say Salakia, it just means forgive. So, what you got?
To me, it means trouble, danger.
Absolutely. Aikazar, I need you to erase the top board. Keep that top corner where it says 4 steps, but you could erase the top board. I want you to write some things down for me as we go in. You could probably get it like a paper towel or something like that. Might be a little easier for you. But no, what you said was absolutely correct. Is danger. Danger, what kind of danger? You mind elaborating, sis?
For me, life-threatening danger.
Right. So it could mean even what you said, that could mean several things. Like it could mean like danger. Like if I say it's hot outside, it could mean like danger with like law enforcement. If I say it's hot outside, mean the police is out. Like, hey, y'all be careful going home. You know what I mean? Y'all drive safe. You know what I mean? It's hot outside. Could be talking about law enforcement, or it could mean like violence. Like, hey, it's hot out, it's hot outside. You know what I mean? It could be like, you know what I mean, people shooting. You know what I mean? People losing a life to violence out here in these streets. Hot outside. Or I could just mean a straightforward thing. Like the sun is Texas. We live in Texas. And I don't know if y'all know, but you get hot in Texas. You know what I mean? I could just mean it's the temperature is high outside. Or, you know what I mean? Like if I say, oh, it's hot in here. If like I'm in the club, it's hot in the club. You know what I mean? I could be talking about it's a lot of beautiful women. Yeah, it could mean several different things. And based on the context, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Based on inflection or just sometimes they don't even require inflection. Like I ain't gotta change the inflection, but it just given the environment, you know what I'm talking about. But all of that goes over your person's head. Like if I say it's hot outside, police don't even know we talking about them. You know what I mean? Your oppressors, you know what I mean? ICE don't even know we talking about them. I mean, even if we in a club, we say, oh, it's hot in here. Sometimes the sisters, you know what I mean, don't even know we talking about them. But that's how we talk. Write down Salakia. Because I keep saying it. I want to just clarify. These are just words that we use often just in practice of our culture. Like, you know, we're a Hebrew speaking people. That was the language that we spoke. That was the language that we it's a cha. Like, the lach. No A behind it. Behind the yeah. Get rid of that one. And write Khan as well. Underneath Salakia. That's you go and I'm gonna join you down there as well. But just while I was thinking about it, you can write it in the English as well if you want to. Or just underline the ya. I got some red markers in there as well. You can use that red marker in that bag. Underline. And I'm gonna break that down in a second. But all of these things go over our oppressor's head because this Bible are separate records of Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So when you read the Bible, they talk like us. They talk like us. They speak in slang like we speak in slang. They speak just the way that we speak. You know what I mean? So that's the whole importance of the language. So that's why, like, and Captain Tazarek just did a debate with what was bro name? Shimon or something like that. And he said something before the debate started. He said he did a debate talking about is Jesus God, because that's another thing that we were indoctrinated with in Christianity. They try to teach you that Jesus is God, even though Christ spoke to the most, like the Lord's Prayer, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Like it started with our Father. So if Christ is God, then how could he be talking to the Most High? If he is the Most High, that don't make no sense. You know what I mean? Even before he went to be crucified, he prayed to the Most High. He said, if you know what I mean, if this could be done without me having to go die, then let this cup pass from me. He was talking to the Most High because he didn't want to. He knew what he was about to go through was about to be rough, but he spoke to the Most High. He prayed to the Most High. He was like, please, if this could be done any other way, then let it be so. Otherwise, you know what I mean? Nevertheless, thy will be done. He was speaking. So if Christ is the Most High, who is he talking to? You would have to assume that Christ is a schizophrenic or something like that, which obviously isn't the case. Either Christ is a schizophrenic or your Christian pastors are liars. You know what I mean? But that's but when he was having that debate, he said off the rip, he was like, this is about to be a semantics debate. And that's what the Christian church does. Like they'll use words and try to make it mean certain things. Like they'll just take a word and just think that, oh, like where is it? I believe is James. What is that? Where it says the word was with God and the word was God. You know what I mean? That's one is that John 1? Let me see. Let's see if I can find it. It says the word was with God and the word was God. That's a popular scripture that they use to try to justify their John 1:1. That's the one. But that's one of the main scriptures. That's one of the go-to scriptures that they use to try to say Jesus is God. But that's why Cap said, like, this is when he had that debate. He said this is going to be a semantics debate because, again, the Christian church don't understand the language. They don't understand the they don't understand the Bible. They don't understand the slang that we use that the Bible was written in. On top of them being indoctrinated by our oppressor. You know what I mean? So when you see certain things like that, they try to, bend and twist it to try to fit the indoctrination rather than what actually is in the Bible. You know what I mean? And that's how, that's how you know that the Christian church is just full of lies. And they just pass those lies down from from generation to generation, and now to the point where, again, we gotta go into the Bible and show you that Christ was a black man. We got to show you that the law isn't done away with. We got to show you that Christ isn't God. You know what I mean? Because the Christian church has done such a number. You know what I mean? And the language plays a huge part in that. All right. With that, we're gonna go ahead and go over just a couple of the words that we've been using all throughout the class. It's like you might grab that camera. I'm gonna go down to the board. And just like the reason, again, since 1969, we've been teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans their culture according to the Bible. So everything that you see, like all the classes that you see us teach, you know what I mean, from Monday to Monday, scripture breakdown, brotherhood, law class, Lashawan Qadash class, all of these different classes is so that we can teach our culture. We can give Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans their culture back. You know what I mean? And everything that you see us do, or everything that you see us do, from, the way that we dress, the fringes that you see brothers wearing, on the borders of their garments, the headpieces, the mitri that I got on my head, from the words that we've been using all day, like Salakia, Khan, La'ah, Thawada, Ayandabar, like just the way that we talk and deal with one another. It's all so that we can get our culture back. All right. So we just gonna go over just a couple just the common words that we just the common words that we use. And see if you can grab that what's it called? Concordance down there. Nah. The beige book. And look up the word salak. So these are just if you like to, sis, you can write down these words. And these are just words that you got that paper. You already got rid of it. Paper towel? Yeah. Okay, no, so I'll grab another one. But these are just you can just write them down. These are just words that you'll see us and hear us use often with one another. And if there's any words that you see, y'all brothers, you know what I mean, that's been here for a while, y'all see anything that I might have missed, then feel free. Salak. That's the word we're looking for. But these are just, again, these are just common words that we use. All right, let me know when you salak. The root word S-A, salak word. It's S-A-L-A-K or S-A-L-A-C? The L-A S-A-L-A-C-H. That's what you're looking for. Or you got it? Yeah. Okay, Most High Christ. Read what you got.
Salak, from an unused root meaning to walk, walking. Salak, a place east of the Jordan. Salak. Is that it? S-A-L-C-H-A?
Allah. That's you reading. Allah.
Real?
Yeah, it's in alphabetical order from the Hebrew. So just find like go through the Hebrew in alphabetical order. So ba ga da ha wa za ha sa. So using ha. So sa is way down here. So you just use it just like you use a dictionary, just like an English dictionary. Okay. You got ba ga da ha wa za ha ta ya ka la ma na sa I pa ta za kwa ra sha tha. In the Hebrew, right? The Hebrew is real simple. It's real simple and straightforward. When we read the Hebrew, and in later classes, we go like usually we'll go over like prayers, we'll go over like certain scriptures, and we'll just read it in the Hebrew. And the way that you're able to break down the Hebrew is, and that's what we're gonna do right now as well. Just use these 4 steps. Now, usually phrases or like words that you see in the Hebrew, they're made up of these 4 steps. So you'll have a root word, which is what each phrase is built off of, like what we're looking at right here. And this is just just an overview, and I'm gonna go into a little bit detail in a second. But it'll have a root word, and then to add to that root word, there'll be a preposition, which is a word or a character rather, a letter that goes in front of the Hebrew or the root word. And then you'll have a possessive that goes after the root word. And then you'll have tenses that give it like it might give you what's the word? Be like these tenses, they'll give you like it'll let you know we talking about past, present, past or present tense, or if we talking about plural, we're talking about something being plural or singular. We're talking about feminine or masculine tense. You'll see those in the word, and I'll point out a couple of those things, like right here, salakia, like how you keep hearing me say salakia. Like you found that yet? Okay, Most High Christ, read what you got. It's salak right here is this me, or I'll let you go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Most High Christ.
Salah, a primitive root to forgive.
To what?
Forgive.
Forgive.
Pardon or spare.
Forgive.
Is that correct one, sir?
Con.
Okay.
The water. Forgive, pardon, or spare. Right?
Okay.
What's the concordance code?
H5545.
H5545. So the root word in this phrase, and I'll write it in the or actually I wrote it here as well. We'll write it again. La. So, and just just so you know, the Hebrew is written from right to left, whereas in English we read from left to right. Hebrew is right to left. I mean, your oppressor got everything backwards. I mean, like we was talking about earlier, like the serpent in the garden in Genesis the 3rd chapter. Your oppressor will teach you to do everything in contrary to what the Most High said. Like the Most High said not to partake in the fruit in the tree in the midst of the garden. The serpent said that is the serpent said no, you should partake in the fruit of the tree, or the knowledge of good and evil. So everything that your oppressor teach you is complete opposite and in contrary to what the Most High said. And it's the same with the language. The Most High gave us a language where we read from right to left. Your oppressor, he gave you a language where you read from left to right. It just lets you know how backwards your oppressor is. But like the brother said, salak right here, it means to forgive. Read that again, salakia.
Khan. A primitive root to forgive, forgive, pardon, or spare.
He said a root word. So like we was talking about in these 4 steps, it'll have, if you want to translate any phrase in the Hebrew, most phrases consist of a root word, and it might have a preposition in front, it might have a possessive at the end, and it might have a tense, which usually comes in the middle of a word, or it might come at the end. And in this example, salakya is a phrase that's made up of a root word, like you just read. The root word means forgive, and the end of it means so salak is the root word, which means forgive. The ya at the end is a possessive. Ya at the end is a possessive. Ya as a possessive, when it comes at the end of a root word, means me or my. Right? So when a brother says, oh, Salakia, brother, Salakia, sir, Salakia, sis, Salakia, it means forgive me. Like if I, if I offend a brother, if I say something to a brother that offends him, I'll be like, oh, Salakia, forgive me. If I, step on your shoe or something, if I bump into you, I'll be like, oh, Salakia. Or if I, we having a conversation and I might interrupt you, oh, Salakia. Or if a brother want to speak or ask a question, or for whatever reason, like you asking a question in class, you'll raise your hand and be like, hey, Salakia, if I could. You know what I mean? That's what that means. Salakia. It means forgive me or excuse me. You know what I mean? It's just being polite and cordial. That's all. It's just, just general manners. Right? And then Salakia, we're gonna work this concordance a little bit. Just so let's see if we could get Khan real quick. Or actually, go to the water. Yeah, the water. I'll just break down Khan and La'ah. That should be pretty straightforward. See what time we got. But I'll just break that down straightforward. So while you getting that, what's up? You about to say something? Okay, no sweat. As a matter of fact, you can ask it. You can go ahead and ask it, and I'll break it down. You mind passing on the mic so you can, and just let me know when you got that. All right.
Concert more than just like the word meaning of a name, like the pictograph part of the Hebrew name, such as like what does that mean? How does that correlate with like how does the pictograph correlate into the actual name? Like I would want to know my name mean from a pictograph, and how does that correlate to the language, like breaking down the name?
Okay, that's an excellent question, and Thawada for bringing it up and reminding me. What I can tell you, okay, so breaking it down from the top, the Hebrew is a pictographical language, which is, of course, why you asking the question, right? The Hebrew is a pictographical language. Like all of these images all of these characters that you see, they come from pictures. Like is for alap, which means ox. Ba is for bayat, which means house. Ga, gamal. Da, dalaf, which means door, so on and so forth. Like each character has a picture associated with it. And in a later class, we could go back and review it as well, just to get brothers and sisters up to speed. But the Hebrew, long story short, is a pictographical language. Each character means something. You know what I mean? Just like you know what I mean? Yeah, each character just means something. And what you'll also see is, you know, in the English language, like you see that character, their letters, they'll mimic our Hebrew letters. Like this looks like a sideways A in the English because your oppressor is a culture vulture. You know what I mean? They steal your language. But their language has no meaning. They're just stealing from other languages. But our language, it's deliberate and straightforward. Each character has a pictograph associated with it. And that's usually how words are built. Like the word for father, right? I'll give you this. Lock me. So Abba, the word for father, right? Now, like we just said before, the pictograph associated with the character is an ox, right? An ox or like a male cow, right? Which resembles like strength, right? So meaning strength. Ba is for bayat, which means house, right? So you put it together. So lucky. You put it together and you get Abba, which is father, who is also the strength of the house. So that's usually how words are formed. Now, for each individual word, I don't have a source to be able to break it down in depth to be able to like teach it officially. So that's a question that I would have to ask specifically on your name or any brother's name. But just in a general sense, that's how words are built based on those pictographs. So you can kind of just for practice sake, you can take the characters of your name and kind of try to put together like a hypothesis or like a guess or like the logic behind it. But to be absolutely factual and to be able to teach it to you, I would just have to ask and get a definite source to be confident, right? But that's just the basis on how words are formed in that way. Just use the characters and their pictographs and they come together and, you know, make a word, right? Did you, what was that? Water?
I think I might got it.
Okay, give me what you got.
H8426, properly an extension of the hand. A bowal, or usually.
What you looking at?
I'm looking at this. Is this it?
That's hot.
Oh, I'm still in hot?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Let me see.
I don't know.
Oh, no, you're right. Okay. You're right. Salaki.
Okay. Specifically, a choir of worshipers, confession, praise, sacrifice of praise, thanksgiving, thank offering. That's correct one?
What was the concordance code?
H8426.
H8.
Yeah, 8426.
And it's important that it's important that brothers and sisters get familiar with the concordance. You know what I mean? Get familiar with using the dictionary, get familiar with using the concordance, and being able to look things up. Because a lot of times, like, honestly, like, you know what I mean, we've become dependent on like technology. Like, you know what I mean, a lot of us we don't really touch. I mean, we got physical Bibles here, like what I've been using as a prop all through our class. Like, we have physical Bibles, but most brothers and sisters, you know what I mean, brothers, just, if you got a Bible, you just whip out your phone, look up the scripture. If you want to find a verse, you'll go to your phone and use Google or Chat GPT or something like that to try to find the scripture or the precept that you're looking for. But you know what I mean, you want to get familiar with these resources and having these resources, because a lot of times, you know what I mean, when you're trying to find out information, when you're trying to understand something, like the scriptures say, here a little, there a little, precept upon precept, line upon line. You might have to, you know what I mean, you might have to use Bible Hub. You might have to use Blue Letter Bible. You might have to go to 2-letter lookup. You might have to use the concordance. You might have to use different resources to be effective in like what you're trying to find out. And one resource might have be more effective than another resource. So it's important that brothers get familiar with that so that you can be able to find these things. And I mean, and then that's how you learn the language as well. Like what we going over right now, these common words, Slakia, Tawada, Ayandabar, Khan, La'ah, Ak, Akwath, you know what I mean? That's how we talk to one another. And the goal is to get our oppressor's language out of our mouths. And the only way we're gonna be able to do that is if we learn our language. You know what I mean? That's the only way we're gonna be able to do that. So that's gonna be very handy in learning how to talk to one another using these resources until it just becomes second nature. Like, you know what I mean? Like how brothers, like a lot of brothers and sisters might be bilingual. And you learn the language by just because a lot of people first language is English because that's the language that's spoken here. That's the common language. But until Hebrew becomes the common language for us, we're going to have to use these resources to lock you. But read those definitions again.
Khan. Specifically, a choir of worshipers, confession, praise, sacrifice of praise, thanks, thanksgiving, thank offering.
So when we say the water, like if I say, hey, Salakia, you mind bringing me a bottle of water? And then you bring me the water, I say the water, right? It's to say thank you. You know what I mean? That's just something that we say, it's just common that we say amongst each other. If I say, you mind handing me this or you mind doing this, the water. Or, you know, the water for coming to class, the water for joining us, the water for, you know what I mean? We feed brothers and sisters on Sundays, give them a plate, ate the water. You know what I mean? That's just how we talk to one another. That's just one of the words. So when you hear us say the water, just means thank you. You know what I mean? It is just a root word. Like before, like Salakia, it was a root word with a possessive at the end. These 4 steps, they're like the foundation or like the kind of the puzzle pieces of learning the Hebrew. But you're not gonna see all 4 at once all the time. You might see all 4. You might just see a root word by itself. You might just see a root word with a preposition. You might see a root word with a possessive. You might see a root word with a tense attached to it. But these are just the building blocks of how we form phrases, right? So in this case, the water is just a standalone root word, which means thank you. And then in response to the water, look up Salaki, if you could look up Ayan. All right. It should be in the beginning of the concordance. In the beginning of the Hebrew section of the concordance. So in response to the water, so if I say, hey, you pass me a water, bring me the water, I say the water. In response, the brother or sister will say Ayandabar. All right. Which is Ayan Salakia. The bar. And these are I mean these should be at this point sight words. They're used in different areas in the Bible. Like usually, when we do like Sabbath service, a brother will read the Hebrew and then they'll read it in the English and then break it down. Uh, During feast days, high holy days, we'll read Leviticus 23, and Leviticus 23 starts with Wayad Dabar, which is one of the words that's in this phrase that we constantly use. Wayad Dabar Yahweh al Mashah La Amar. Well, you look up Dabar since you got the other concordance. Yeah, look up Dabar. Let me know when you find Ayan. But because we use these so often when we read it in the Hebrew, it should be sight words. Like how you read in the English. Like when you read the English, you're not reading and the dog ran from the fox and like that's not how you read in the English. You kind of just you recognize the word and that's how you read. You recognize each word and you just go through it. That's how it should be with these words eventually, just because we use them so often. And now, of course, you know what I mean, if you're not familiar with it off the rip, if you're not familiar with using these words, then it might take you a little minute. But eventually, because you know what I mean, once you get familiar with the culture of the school, you know what I mean, you'll just start to hear these words and use them yourself. You know what I mean? You'll start to replace English words with Hebrew, and that's which is the whole point. You was able to find that? Yeah. And whichever one, if you
I got it.
okay, Most High Christ, read what you got.
It's AHYAN, right?
Yeah. And you got a concordance code as well?
Con, sir. Slovakia. What was that? I just had it, Slovakia. AHYAN.
No.
Okay, I got it. H291. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it reads brotherly Akjan and Israelite.
Let me
I could be wrong. It's H251. Lucky. Let me go to H251 right quick. I could. Okay, here it is. I think this is it. Is that
you
it?
want ya. Ya. Bagada hawaza kata ya.
I'm right here. Is correct? Done?
It'll be a little after this. Yeah. Look at page. And everything, it should be on that page somewhere. But everything that we like, all this practice, going through the concordance, using the resources, it all ties into, you know what I mean? Everything ties together. It all traces back to the foundation. Like for you to be able to use a dictionary, just like in the English, if you want to use an English dictionary, first you got to know the English alphabet because that's how you find words. So when you want to find a word in the English, you go, what's the definition of apple? So you go A, then you go AP, then APP, and then you just follow the alphabet. Same with the Hebrew. For you to be able to effectively use the concordance, you have to know the Hebrew. The Abagada Hawaza Kata Yakala Manasa I Patazakwa Rashata. And once you know the alphabet off the top of your head, you should be able to just practice that. Just practice that. Like if you're not comfortable with it off the rip, without looking, if you're not comfortable with it, then you should practice it. Just Abagada Hawaza, like the A, like you learn the English alphabet. Like you first before you learned any letter. Like my 4-year-old daughter, she knows the ABC song, but she can't necessarily point out letters, but she knows the song, and that's how we learn. And it's gonna be the same with the Hebrew. Like you might not be able to recognize off a glance, you might not be able to recognize the characters, but if you just, put the repetition in your mind and just remember the cadence. Like when I first learned the Hebrew alphabet, I just took the ABC song and replaced it with Hebrew. So A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z. I took that cadence and replaced it with the Hebrew. So instead of A B C D E F G, I said Abba Gada Hawaza Kata Yaka Lama Nasa I Pataza Kwa Rashata. Like that's the cadence that I use to memorize the Hebrew. And then once I just practiced that daily. Like I just kept practicing it. And that's how you got to be. Like you have to, like the scriptures say, unless you become as one of these little children, then you won't enter the kingdom of heaven. Like you have to become, if you want to learn this language that your oppressor stole from you, you have to become like a child. You have to treat it as if, with some importance, with some urgency. And, the same way that you learned English, and don't be so, I don't want to, what's the word? For lack of a better word, don't be proud. Don't be too proud to, if you got to go home and sing a song to help you memorize the Hebrew, that's what I was doing. I was, you got to do a dance. I remember another thing when I was learning the salute. I think Cap did this as well, where he did the Macarena to learn the salute. He was Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shabarakata, Yahweh Shem Yahweh. Like sometimes that's what you got to do. You know what I mean? And those things are effective. That works. You know what I mean? That's why we teach our children in those ways, because it's effective. And right now, like we're coming from square one. We're coming from learning our oppressors' language and their culture, and now we're coming in the truth as babies, trying to learn the Most High culture and His ways, and the old paths, like it says in Jeremiah, I believe the 6th chapter. But we're trying to learn these old paths that was taken away from us. We're coming in as babies. So what, it just makes sense for us to treat it that way. Oh, you found what you were looking for? No. Hey, no sweat. I think you right there in the ballpark.
I can't find. I'm trying though.
So you in the ayah, right? Like we was talking about in the dictionary. You looking up apple. You look up or a apple.
So it's like if I could, am I supposed to look at this or the Hebrew? Because I'm looking at the Hebrew when I do it.
Yeah, no,
I'm supposed to look at the word.
You're looking at the Hebrew.
That's so this should be ayan.
No, that's ayab.
Ayab.
So you're missing. So you got the right?
Right.
You got the ya.
Right.
Now the ba is where you're so does ba, what you're looking for is ayan. You're looking for a na. Where is it at? You're looking for na. Where you're at right now is ba.
Wrong character. Because I know it's in the Syrian, so I'm looking at the character there.
So is ba before or after na?
It's before.
Right. So no, stay where you at, and just read further, because you're in ba. You're on the right page. It's going to be on that page somewhere. But instead of ba at the end, find na.
Nah.
So you almost there. You right there. And it's just like using the English dictionary. Let me see.
Here you said nah.
Should be here we go. Right there.
Okay.
What's that concordance code?
H369.
369. What you got?
Ayan as if from a primitive root, meaning.
So one of the 4 steps, right? Always look for your root word. And if you was using Bible Hub, like that's what we usually read. That's what we read the Hebrew from during like Sabbath service, high holy days, things like that. We'll read from Bible Hub. It's just a tool that you can use to your advantage. Now, again, I wouldn't depend on it, because if you become dependent on that particular tool, then there's some drawbacks. Like, what if you don't have your phone? You know what I mean? Like, we've gone through the concordance. If you rely on Bible Hub, if you rely on these like electronic tools, then you won't know how to use these. You know what I mean? Once if your cell towers go down, you don't have internet or Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? I know about these. You know what I mean? These kids nowadays, they freak out when they don't have Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? If you don't have Wi-Fi, if you don't have a connection, if these cell towers go down or whatever the case is, all we're gonna have is the paper resources. So it would just behoove brothers to learn the resource. Slacky, read that. So the root word, right? Ayan is a root word, right? Did you find Debar? Okay, most of that first. So ayan is a root word, meaning what? Go ahead.
Khan, as if from a primitive root meaning to be nothing or not exist.
To be nothing. Nothing. Is it any more than that?
Khan.
Go ahead.
A non-entity generally used as a negative particle.
Uh-huh.
Else except fail, fatherless, be gone, incurable, neither, never, no, nowhere, none, nor any, nor anything, not nothing, to not, pass, unsearchable, well nigh, without.
Right. Okay, that. So basically, all of those things that you just read are just synonyms for nothing. That's what this word means, nothing. Right? Now, what you got for Debar? You got a concordance code as well? Give him the mic.
Concordance code 1696. Also, we have 1697.
And just for you, just so that you know, the H in front of concordance code means Hebrew. Like if you're looking up like in the New Testament, because the New Testament was written in the Greek because that was the captivity that we was under, it'll say G as opposed to H. You know what I mean? And on that note as well, speaking, you know what I mean, going back to the Christian church, that's another reason. Like even when you read words in the Greek, in the New Testament, when you read things in the Greek in the New Testament, you still have to consider the people and how we use words. Like even like we was talking about earlier, dog is an English word, but we're a Hebrew speaking people. So when I say that's my dog, I'm not talking about that's my four-legged canine. Now, if you look in the dictionary, that word is going to tell you it's a four-legged canine. But the way I'm using it, because I'm not English, even though I speak English, I'm not from England. I'm not an oppressor. So the way I use the word, it's used in a Hebrew speaking people's context. And that's the same with the Greek. Slack, you was about to say something? You had a question?
When you said, in the times of Greece, it would say G. Are you saying G is based on because in that time we spoke Greek?
Yeah. So that's
like,
the
like Hellenistic Jews and stuff?
Okay. Yeah. So like you already know that the New Testament was written in Greek, right? So like how you're the concordance code you're looking at in the Hebrew, it says H such and such, whatever numbers come after it. That H is for Hebrew because the Old Testament written in Hebrew and translated from Hebrew. The New Testament, it'll say G followed by whatever numbers because it was written in Greek. You get the point?
Come.
All right. So ayan means nothing. Aitazah, what you got for Debar?
For Debar, a prime root to arrange.
So real quick. Hold on, say that again.
A prime root to arrange. That's 696.
Which one are you looking at?
The 1696 is also 1697 as well, the same Debar.
So like, point to where you reading from. Lucky, this is the one that you want. Yeah. What is that? 1697.
1697.
All right, go ahead.
A word by implied a matter as spoken of or thing caused, advised, affirm, answer, any such thing.
So answer, speak. Is it any more? Any
It
more
says,
synonym?
because of book, business, care, cause, certain rate, chronicles, commandment, commune, concern, counsel.
I think that. Oh wait, no, you. No, you good. You good. Is this what you was reading right here? Okay, no sweat. But the so ayan, nothing. The bar means typically most especially when you see it in the scriptures, when you see it in like Bible Hub, Leviticus 23, the example I gave earlier, where it says Wayad Debar Yahweh al Mashah La Amar. It said in the English, the translation is and the Lord spake or spoke, which is the Old English past tense for speak. Or and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying. So Wayad Debar, the root word is Debar, which means to speak. All right. So when what we was talking about earlier, the water means thank you. Like I'm showing gratitude, you know what I mean, to you. And the response to the water would be ayan debar, which is the direct translate, like the way we use it, the direct translation is like the most straightforward understanding is you're welcome. But the literal translation is nothing speak. Like, and again, this is just a show. Please, y'all, you mind passing my mic real quick? Oh, yeah, right, exactly. Or what you got?
To Officer Tabitha's point, is it also like saying
Exactly. No sweat, or even because that's more of a that's exactly what it is. But that's more of a UPK. You know what I mean? It's more what we say. Like that's how we talk to. You're right, but I'm gonna give a more worldly example just to show again that this is our culture in the Bible. Like this is the way words are arranged in the Hebrew. Ayan dabar. Instead of like your oppressor, they'll be like, "Oh, thank you." They'll be like, "Oh, you're welcome." But what the way we reply, like what's like if a brother say, what's the word? And I just had it. Say less.
Yeah.
Like when a brother, you know what I mean, like, hey, say less. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or don't mention it. Don't sweat it. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? That's the or like the Spanish example, which also shows you that we're the same people. Blacks and Hispanics, we're the same people. And we, no matter what language that we speak, we use it in the exact same way. Like if you look at every language, whatever oppresses language that we speak, whether it's English, you have the way your oppressor uses English, and then how black people use English. Ebonics, African American vernacular English. What was the other one I said earlier? Slang. You know what I mean? That's how we use our oppressors' language. We use our oppressors' language in a way that they don't even understand. Same with Spanish. Like the Spanish that you learn in Spanish 101 in high school that they teach you. Once you get out of high school and you try to have a like school Spanish is very different than conversational Spanish. And it's very different than how like a Hispanic, so-called Hispanic, uses Spanish versus how Spaniards speak Spanish. Very different, and we do the same thing like in English. Like instead of saying "Do you know what I'm talking about?" in English, we'll say "No, I'm talking about." You say instead of saying "Do you know what I mean?" we'll say "No, I mean." It's the same thing with Spanish with our brothers and sisters. What you got?
it's like if I could to your point is heavy because I remember I had a partner, he's an older Mexican man. And like Mexican Spanish versus Puerto Rican Spanish versus Dominican Spanish.
Yeah.
It's like slang within it, even though it's in this that language. Just like you said, like a Spaniard Spanish. If I was to speak Spaniard Spanish to like a Puerto Rican, he would be like, "What are you talking about?" Because it sounds totally different. And then just to go to another further extent, I was speaking Spanish, Mexican Spanish, to a Puerto Rican, but it's like different slang within it. It's not like a how do I say, like a set point, a generic point to where I can say this and he gonna understand me. Like he gonna understand me, but he gonna respond in a slang and he gonna say something totally different. Yeah. Prompts me to say something totally different in a slang back to what he said slang to me.
No, what you said is it's heavy. That's the whole point. Like the way we speak it, and you like I think Officer Yashikar, he described it, he called it gringo Spanish. Yeah. Like I remember General Muhammad, he learned Spanish. He practiced and speaks Spanish. He makes it a point to speak Spanish every day in his classes. You know what I mean? Because it's important that our brothers and sisters know that we love them and they're the Lord's chosen people, and that we're reaching out to them. So because we're divided by language a lot of time, you know what I mean, he makes it a point to do that. And when he first started, he said that he was learning like the Spanish 101 Spanish. You doing Duolingo or whatever he was doing. But then he start learning from Yashikar, and Yashikar was like, "You speaking gringo Spanish," which gringo is like how Hispanic they call white people. It was like, that's gringo Spanish. If you want to say it like a black person, you say it like this. You know what I mean? So it just goes to show you, like, just like in English, we got slang, Ebonics, or AAVE. Hispanics do the same thing with Spanish. Even what's it, Creole? Like Creole is like it's like a broken French. Like even in Creole, like there's certain words, it's very close to French, but the way they speak, it's slightly different. It's slightly different. You know what I mean? It's more straight to the point. You know what I mean? Just like patois. I can't remember where patois comes from. But it's this, like, the way that our captors speak and taught us to speak, we speak totally different. We speak different. And it's the same as it all comes from, you know what I mean, this spirit that's how we use our language in the Hebrew. That's how the language is already in Hebrew. Like in Hebrew, like the word y'all, for example, like the way that we use the word y'all, your oppressor will look at you like you trash. Like you don't know how to speak English if you say y'all. But y'all is built into our language. It just is. Like that's just how we speak. You know what I mean? The abbreviations, like how I keep saying, you know what I mean? That's in our language. Like you'll see, especially with like brothers' names. But especially like brothers' names, like you'll see words kind of like General Muhammad's name, right? It's a perfect example. General Muhammad's name is Mahayman, right? It means trustworthy, right? But it's made up of words that kind of run together. Like Benjamin, that's a common one. Benjamin is Bunyamin, which if you read further into the scriptures, like as the language develops, it slowly turned into Bunyamin. Like you'll see that in the scriptures. But it comes from Bunyamin, which is son of the right hand, or son at the right hand, right? Jerome Muhammad's name is from a preposition, right? Going back to the 4 steps. That's why it stays here. Everything goes back to these 4 steps. Ma, the preposition, which is before the root word, meaning of or from. Haya, which means be. And aman, which means faithful. So if you use all of the root words, it's ma, haya, aman. But you put it together, and things get abbreviated. So instead of saying ma haya aman, it's mahayman, right? Which means of or from, from being faithful or trustworthy, right? And remember when you add a ma, I think we went over this last week. When you add a ma to the beginning of a root word, it creates a word in itself. We'll go into it a little bit more detail next class. I'm gonna put it back down here. Usually stays down here, but I try to get the kids a little room to be kids and color and all of that. But that's just to give you an example of how the way that we speak English. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? The way that we speak English, it's woven into the Hebrew because this is our separate language. Like we went over the word holy earlier. Holy means separate. The Hebrew is separate to us, which is why now that we're in hell, now that we're in captivity, we speak our oppressors' languages. We speak our oppressors' languages in a unique way. What you got?
So, like, if I could, when you was talking about Benjamin, what did you say that it becomes like over time? You said, Banyamin. Is that what you said? So around that point, is you saying that now it is forming into like Ebonics, in a sense? So,
I don't want to say that because Ebonics it comes from the way we speak our oppressors' language. Now in the Hebrew, that's just how it's spoken. Does that make sense?
Like, okay,
like we blend things together.
Yes. Okay. So if you ask a brother, he'd be like, "Yeah, I'm from the tribe of Benjamin." We know it's tribe of Benjamin. Everybody knows that. But then you said that it gets to the point to where it can be ban yamen, yam. How you say it?
So the Hebrew translation is ban. Like, okay, ban is son.
Right.
Yun is right.
Right.
Right. But over time, just how we speak it, or just how we speak, and a lot of times, like when you see things written in Hebrew, or when you hear Hebrew being spoken, just like how we speak English, it's for efficiency. Like instead of saying, "Do you know what I mean?" I'll say, "You know what I mean?"
Right.
Right. It's for efficiency. You know what I mean? Because we're, some militant, and our language is straightforward. Right. So over time, just hearing it over and over, or just saying it over and over, it developed into from Banyamyan to Ban. Trying to say it in a practical way. It developed from Banyamyan to Banyaman. Yeah, that's a perfect example.
And I'm glad also Tabazar said that. So that prompts me to my question. Within the Hebrew, you saying brothers' names. In a sense, could this be Ebonics within itself? Because different brothers come from different places, got different accents. But over time, like some brothers might say your name like this, and then some brothers might say your name like that. Is that in a sense Ebonics? Or is that just based on, it could be just where somebody derives from the accent? You know what I'm saying?
I would more lean toward accent.
Okay.
Like accent or dialect. Like, how people from Philly, they speak a certain way. Yeah. We all black, but people from Philly say certain things. People from, New York say certain things a certain way. People from Georgia say, you know what I mean? So I would lean more toward dialect or an accent. But Ebonics is just the way we speak other people's language.
You just did.
Yeah, but this is our language, though. So I wouldn't say that, but it's where was we at?
I think he was on General Muhammad name or Banyamyan.
Oh, those are just examples of just how we blend things together, and you'll see a lot of times, like and we'll get some examples, like once we go into Bible Hub, probably in the next class, we're going to Bible Hub, but when you read during Sabbath service, you'll see like for example, actually I got it pulled up on the screen. Like well, I'll just wait until next class to break it down. But it's like you was about to say
It's
something.
like if I could. So if a brother's from the tribe of Benjamin, Benjamin would be in the English version of saying the tribe he's from. Banyan is the Hebrew, but it's the same thing. It's just in the Hebrew. So it's just like saying if I'm Judah, I'm Yahweh.
Right. Yeah.
Does that make sense? Or if you Levi, you Ban lawyer or lawyer would be Levi in Hebrew.
Yeah.
So what you put up there, Banyan is Benjamin, but in Hebrew, kind of like Judah, but in Hebrew it's Yahweh.
Yeah.
So I'm explaining it right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
kind of.
And since we're talking about names, what is that? Genesis. What is that? Let's see if I can find it real quick. What time is it? We got a couple minutes left. And this is the importance, this is the significance of the Hebrew. Like right now, because we was given somebody else's language. What was the first son? Let me see if I can find it. Select it. Give me 1 second. Genesis 29. There we go. Genesis 29 and 32. Yeah, if you could.
32? Khan. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 29 and verse 32. And Leah conceived,
right,
and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben.
Reuben, right? So that's the firstborn son, right? That was the first son that the firstborn of the 12 tribes, right? This is also another thing. This is the significance of having our culture, right? So because we're under an oppressor, we speak our oppressor's language. When we name our children, we want to try to do something new, unique. You know what I mean? We try to give them something that might have some neat meaning. So that's why you know what I mean, you might name your child after their father. Or, you know what I mean? I've seen a lot of times where even like a brother, he'll want a boy and then have a girl, and then like a brother will be named like Malik, and then he'll have a girl and name the child after him, and it'll be like instead of Malik, it'll be Malika. Or you know what I mean? Because we're speaking our oppressor's language, but culturally, our names have meaning. They've always had meaning. That's why, you know what I mean, when you come into school, you do your 90 days, brother, you know what I mean, the camp leader will observe you, and you'll get a name. And that name will have meaning. It'll have depth, because that culturally, that's just how our names, that's how we got our names. They have depth. They have meaning. There's a importance to it. What you got?
No, it's heavy what you were saying about the language and us understand the language. Like I was watching a video on social media, it was like Brother Bates was saying, "Stop letting the oppressor diagnose your kids," saying that they nonverbal. Like he was saying things to his kids, and once he said that his child was actually speaking back, it wasn't the English language, but he was verbally speaking to him. Like, you know what I mean? But the brother just was zealous about his child, even speaking back, even though it wasn't an oppressor's language, he still was verbally speaking to him though.
No, that's a little off topic. Like I did see that video. And full disclosure, if you got some medical things going on with your kid, you should go get them seen and get some help for your kids. I mean, that's what you should absolutely do. But that's not really necessarily what this is talking. We're gonna read. You still got that? Read that, and then I'm gonna explain what this is talking about. Go ahead.
Khan. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 29 and verse 32. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben.
Reuben. All right. Which is in the Hebrew, Ra, Ah, Wa, Ban. Right? In Hebrew. Right? Just like what we was talking about, Judah, Yehuda, Benjamin, Bunyamin, Levi, Laviyah. Right? Reuben, Ra, Waban. Go ahead.
Khan.
And this is why. Usually, again, we we name our kids in the English language, and we try to like we try to give our kids unique names, like, you know what I mean, like yeah, good night. Yeah, we end up naming our kids something, you know what I mean, some nonsense because we trying to be unique. Because, you know what I mean, your oppressors culture and language don't really have no flavor, and there's no rhyme or reason. You know what I mean? And if there is a rhyme or reason or a meaning behind your name or origin behind your name, it comes from another oppressor's language. You know what I mean? But we try to reach for some sort of value and some, you know what I mean, some importance in our name, because this is the nature and how like brothers and sisters get named, that we name our children. Go ahead.
Khan. For she said, surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me.
Right. So, and this is you know what I mean, this is the nature of our sisters as well. You know what I mean? Like, they had children, and that's what, and you'll read on as well. It's funny because you mentioned lawyer. Lawyer means joined to me. You know what I mean? A lot of like our sisters, once you give them kids, like, they're in their mind, they're, you know what I mean, you having kids for them will make you closer to them and joined to them and want to be around them, because now y'all got a family, right? So, and of course, if you know the Genesis, you know, 29, and this time, you know, Leah and Rachel was competing. You know what I mean? They was competing for the attention of Joseph or Jacob, selected. And Reuben was the firstborn child. So read that last part. Name after Reuben.
Khan. For she.
She. So for Salakia. For means implies a reason or intent. So because. Right. Go ahead.
For she said, surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction.
Has looked, right? Ra'ah. The root word ra'ah means look or behold or see. Right. That's the straightforward see. Right. Go ahead.
Khan hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. Verse 33. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, behold, the Lord hath heard that I was hated.
Right. So Ra'ah Waban just means behold a son. That's all Reuben or Ra'alban means. What was the next one?
Khan.
I think she had like 4 back to back.
Khan.
Go ahead.
Heard that I was hated. He hath therefore given me this son also, and she called his name Simeon.
Simeon in the Hebrew, Shammai one. Shammai means, read that again, and you should just be able to know off the scripture what Shammai means. Read that again.
Khan. Verse 33. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, because the Lord hath heard that I was hated. The Lord hath heard that I was hated.
Say that part again.
Khan. Because the Lord hath heard.
The Lord hath. So what does Shammai mean? Y'all know what Shammai means? It's a common word that we, not as often, but it's a word that's commonly used amongst brothers in a particular context. What you got, Yahaji?
I would like to say that Shammai means to be quiet or listen, or is that quiet?
Use what's in the scripture.
Khan.
What you got? Let me give Aita a try.
To not be heard.
To almost read that again. Because the Lord what?
Because the Lord hath heard.
So Shema means what? Not to not be heard.
To be heard. To listen.
Hear.
Okay.
Come.
That's
what Shema means.
So Shema means listen?
Yeah, it means listen or hear.
Right. Okay.
That's what it means. All right. And then the one at the end is how you turn a verb into a noun.
Right.
So if I say, like for example, if your name was here, right? Because she named this child Shamaiwan, because read that again.
Khan. Because the Lord hath heard that I was hated.
Because the Lord hath heard. So she named her child here, or heard. Right? Now, if your name was just Shammai to hear, right? And I was trying to call your name in like a crowd of people. I'm saying Shammai, Shammai. What are the people in the crowd gonna think?
What they're gonna think?
Yeah, what are they gonna think? Y'all could just say it, y'all. Yeah, they're gonna think that I'm talking to everybody, and I'm gonna get the attention of everybody. I'm trying to get your attention, but I'm gonna get the attention of everybody if your name was Shammai.
It makes sense to why it means listen. Because when you say it, they turn and look.
But this is the significance of the one, though. This is why his name isn't just Shammai. Because if I'm calling you and your name is Shammai, I'm gonna get the attention of the whole room. So if I wanted to name you after a verb, like Shammai, if I wanted to name you Shammai, you put the one at the end. Then you turn a verb into a noun. So now when I say Shammai one, I'm not getting the attention of the whole room. I'm just getting your attention. That's the purpose of the one. And before we wrap up, I just wanted to touch on this real quick. Like, it's Shammai one. It's not Shammaya one. Like, same thing with. Go ahead. I think you're about to say what I'm about to say.
Yeah. Well, I could say something different, but I'm gonna ask a question. It's like, because a lot of people will add something into it. Like, okay, with Captain Tazar Yak, people will say Captain Tazariak. Yeah. They're adding a Zari, right? And it's not Tazariak. It's Captain Tazar Yak. It's like separate. So you might was already gonna say that though. But that brought to my mind when you said that it's not Shammai Wan like you're stating, it's Shammai Wan. Or like with Officer Gadawan's name.
That's what I was about to say.
Officer Gadawan's name, they say Gadaya Wan. Yeah. But I'm like, his name is Gadai Wan.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like,
yeah, no, that's exactly what I was gonna go to. Like, especially with those wands, because the phonetic, like when you trying to explain what a character sounds like, it has that ah sound at the end. Like all the characters. Abba, Gada, Hawa, Zakata, Yaka, Lama, Nasa. I is the only one that, sounds a little different. But in general, most of the characters have the I sound behind it. So a lot of times when we build in words or when we say words, we just naturally want to add that I sound, but it's not there. You know what I mean? Gadai one. Gadai is the root word, which means to hew or to cut down. And the one is to turn it into a verb or into a noun or a name. Same with Shammai one. Shammai is the root word, and then the one goes in it. Shammai one, Shamar one, Gadai one. You get the point. But you get the. Sometimes we learn by hearing first. Like we'll just hear Gadai one. That's what we say, and then. But that's incorrect. I just want to touch on that.
Like if I could.
Oh, please go ahead.
He's saying is absolutely right because they do it my name too.
What
they be like Yahadia.
Yeah, it's the same with you.
You know what I'm saying? But I think us, like you said, us as Israelites, we add it sometimes. But do we do that just because we trying to make it legible in our head to make it sound right? Like in our mind, we might be overthinking and we do that. Or like you said, it's because somebody might say we listen, so we just all do
it. It's mostly just familiarity. Like we familiar with hearing a certain thing. Like we're not reading it off paper, or you know what I mean. So Gadayawan, you know what I mean. Like Officer Karab, we call him Karab, but his name is Karab. But because we're familiar with, that's just what people on a familiar basis call him. We just say Karab. And I won't, I don't usually correct. I mean, if a brother, like my name is Kal Khazah, but people just call me Kal Khazah. But it's Khazah. Go ahead.
So if I could, I'm glad you said that because I was going to ask you that question with your name, Officer Kal Khazah. Like, most brothers won't emphasize a chazah.
Yeah.
But it's not, is that necessarily wrong just because it's like, in the brother mind, I would just say this, and not saying me, but in the brother mind, he could think like the chazah every time could be doing too much and it messes up his mind. So he could just say, Officer call chazah. You get what I'm saying? It kind of shortens it instead of emphasizing or making an emphasis on the chazah, like Officer call chazah. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I'm trying to explain it correctly, though.
No, I understand what you're saying. If you want to be accurate and correct, it's called chazah. That's what you, and I encourage brothers to just practice using that ha sound. It's like, so you might pass me the mic. Right, yeah.
So you saying you doing that, there's a ka.
Yeah.
So it's two rules.
So let me see. So like if I could, because I'm trying to think now that you said a ka like Captain Kataza.
Yeah.
I think what maybe Kataza. Now sometimes I think that when brothers do say it, sometimes they do emphasize on the ka, but I'm only asking that to say because of how his name is, it's like already in the front. Like it's already, the ka's already there, then the tazah. With your name, we'll say call, then the kazah comes after. So I'm saying since it's in the front with Captain Katazah's name, it could be a lot easier to say the ka tazah because it's already there. It's the first thing that you have to say. Meaning with your name, it's like a call, then a kazah. And sometimes we might forget to say the kazah. No, I'm just, but I get what you get what I'm saying? Come on, sir. So like
Yeah, but it's, yeah. If you want to be correct, cha. Every time, no matter where the ka is or the cha is, pronounce it. And I encourage brothers to emphasize that just for practice sake. But if you call me Caucus, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be, I'm not going to do too much and be like, it's chaza. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do that to you. And I know who you talking about, just like Officer Korab's name. We know who we're talking about. It's just familiarity. All right. With that, it's 901. All right, we're gonna wrap it up right there. We're gonna pick up. I wanted to go into, Lord willing, next week we'll be able to go into Psalms or one of the prayers, or we'll go to the scriptures and see this language in practice and use. And that's all part of understanding the language as well. We just gonna put everything that we went over today, these 4 steps, these the pronunciation, the concordance code and all of that, everything we went over tonight, we'll put it in practice by reading or hearing the Hebrew, the Sabbath service as well. With that, we'll go ahead and say Imajim, which means to stand. We'll give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Individual Imajim Shabbat, Imadim, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Brakathon, Yad Yamatah, turn, Sar, which means turn. We'll turn and face the sisters, give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Individual, or Salak his sisters, Imadim, which means to stand. Individual Imajim Shabbat, Imadim, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Lathan by Hashem Yahushua. Yeah. What we just said is, Lord, watch over you in the name of Christ. Yad Yamatah.
Shalom, Israel. It's that time again. The ISUPK, under Commanding General Yahana, presents the Lord's 57th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 57th Annual Passover, April 4th, 2026, in Houston, Texas. All Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans are commanded to observe the Lord's Passover. This will be the biggest Passover to date. You do not want to miss this. Fresh lamb, fresh wine, and bitter herbs as commanded by the Most High. Only $200 per person, ages 17 and up. The biggest event of the year. There is only one Passover, and it's under Commanding General Yahana. See you there, Israel. Shalom.
Particular, nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and war like apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us. Watch where you stepping.